Seeing their pain and fear excited me. I enjoyed pushing the limits, going to the extreme. It was like a game, and I was in control.
Dispatch to all units, we have a report of a possible homicide. An old woman has been found murdered in her apartment in Glassell Park, Los Angeles.
On June 28, 1984, I arrived at the crime scene in Glassell Park, Los Angeles. It was the apartment of Jenny Vinkow, a 79-year-old woman who had been murdered. The place was a mess, with broken things and a lot of chaos. It was clear that there had been a big fight. I needed to make sure the area was safe and not disturb any important clues. We took careful pictures of everything. I started looking for any clues that could help us catch the person who did this. I found something interesting. The screen on a window had been removed and there were fingerprints on it. It seemed like the killer had come in through the open window. I made sure to carefully collect the fingerprints. They could be very important in finding out who did this terrible thing. I also talked to the neighbors to see if they saw or heard anything unusual. They might have information that could help us figure out what happened. Mr. Thompson, did you see anything unusual?
Detective, I saw a man around the building a few nights ago. He had long, greasy hair and a creepy look. Always wore dark clothes like he was watching people.
This is important, Mr. Thompson. Can you give more details about this man?
His eyes were intense, like he was possessed. He had a pentagram tattoo on his hand. Scary stuff, really.
With this information, we started looking for the suspect. We wanted to bring them in for questioning and find out if they were responsible for Jenny's murder.
Attention all units. We have a critical incident in progress in Rosemead, California. We have a reported shooting outside a residence. A 22-year-old woman named Maria Hernandez was attacked in her garage. She was shot in the face.
In 1985, on March 17th, a horrifying incident unfolded in Rosemead, California. A 22-year-old woman named Maria Hernandez was attacked outside her home. It was a traumatic experience that would forever change her life. As Maria pulled into her garage, an unknown assailant approached her. In a shocking act of violence, she was shot in the face with a .22 caliber handgun. Miraculously, the key she held in her hands shielded her from the bullet, saving her life. Realizing the danger, Maria quickly pretended to be lifeless until the attacker left the scene. Inside the house, Maria's roommate, Dale Yoshi Okazaki, aged 34, heard the gunshot and took cover. Unfortunately, when she dared to look up, the attacker entered the kitchen and shot her once in the forehead, ending her life in an instant. The violence didn't stop there. Within a short span of time, the attacker targeted another victim. A 30-year-old woman named Saileon Veronica Yu was forcibly pulled out of her car in Monterey Park. She was shot twice with a .22 caliber handgun and tragically succumbed to her injuries, despite efforts to save her. These horrifying acts shocked the community, and the news media dubbed the attacker with various names like the walk-in killer and the Valley Intruder. Descriptions of the assailant's appearance, such as curly hair, bulging eyes, and deteriorated teeth with wide spacing, were shared in an effort to identify the perpetrator. On August 25, 1985, the Valley Intruder broke into the home of Bill Carnes, 30, and his fiancée, Inez Erickson, 29. They entered through a back door and entered the couple's bedroom. The intruder woke up Carnes by making a sound with their weapon and shot him 3 times in the head. Then they turned to Erickson, claiming to be the Night Stalker. The intruder coerced her to say she loved Satan, physically assaulted her, and bound her with neckties. They stole valuables, took Erickson to another room where an assault occurred, and demanded more money and jewelry. Before leaving, the intruder warned Erickson to inform others of their presence. 𝗪𝗛🏡 managed to free herself and sought assistance from a neighbor. Carnes's life was saved by surgeons who removed 2 bullets from his head. 𝗪𝗛🏡 provided the police with a detailed description of the attacker. The police found footprints at the Romero house and a fingerprint in the abandoned stolen vehicle. The fingerprint matched that of a 25-year-old Richard Ramirez from Texas. Law enforcement released a photograph of the suspect to the media. On August 30th, 1985, Ramirez took a bus to Tucson, Arizona, but returned to Los Angeles the next day. As he entered a convenience store, he saw his face on a newspaper, panicked, and fled. He tried to carjack a vehicle but was stopped by residents who chased and beat him. The police arrived, found Ramirez injured and unarmed, and took him into custody. This marked the end of his crime spree. Can you explain how you picked your victims?
It was about finding easy targets. If I saw a house with open windows or unlocked doors, I took advantage. There wasn't a specific reason for my choices. I just wanted to satisfy my twisted desires.
The level of violence you used was extreme. Can you tell me what drove you to be so brutal?
I craved violence. It made me feel alive, like an adrenaline rush. Seeing their pain and fear excited me. I enjoyed pushing the limits, going to the extreme. It was like a game, and I was in control.
It's disturbing to hear how you found pleasure in causing harm. Did you ever think about how your crimes affected the victims and their families?
To be honest, I didn't care about their pain. Their suffering didn't matter to me. I was only focused on my own sick satisfaction. I didn't feel bad or sorry for what I did.
I understand that you don't feel remorse, but is there anything you can share that might help us prevent similar acts of violence in the future?
I doubt it. I'm not here to help anyone. If anything, people should know that there are others like me out there, capable of doing terrible things. Stay cautious, protect yourselves, and be aware that darkness exists in this world.
Finally, justice is served as Richard Ramirez is found guilty on multiple counts of murder, attempted murder, and rape. As the judge delivers the sentence, emotions run high in the courtroom. Ramirez is condemned to death, marking the end of a chapter filled with terror and anguish. But fate has its own plans. Before the execution can take place, Ramirez passes away in prison due to natural causes, leaving the community with mixed feelings of relief and closure denied.